think a trip to New York would stand in the way of one of these. And one of the real pleasures of coming out to New York is I get to spend time with this gentleman.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, Sandy, where are we off to?
So we're heading over to Control, which is a really cool modular spot over in Williamsburg.
Right. So that's not Manhattan, is it?
No, we're in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So we're just heading over there from our workspace in Dumbo at the moment, which is cool.
Okay, great. And is there kind of is the word scene? Is there a kind of modular scene here?
If there's any modular scene in New York, it's in Brooklyn as well.
Okay, of
that's,
course.
That's
right.
where a lot of the live electronic music is happening, and where a lot of people are noodling on modular synths.
Right, with their top knots and their flat white coffees.
Yeah, exactly.
So 2019 ended pretty much the same way it started for Sandy and I, shopping. And whilst I didn't get one of these, I did get one of these.
So if I move this mode knob, you can kind of see on the screen it's hard because it's so small.
A bionic Lester. And whilst I have managed to almost fill up my modular rack, what I haven't done, and I regret this, I haven't written a note for my album. And this isn't because of laziness or procrastination or indeed fear. I guess there's something I need to overcome, and that is the sense of indulgence of being in the shed, just making music for yourself. Unapplied, no picture. But if there's one positive, I've got to think about the album, and it's not going to be the album it would have been had I started in September. No, it's going to be nastier, noisier, and a lot drummier. And I guess one of my first films of 2020 will be, can you actually make drums sound good on a modular rig? And what am I going to do with all of these stickers? Sandy's also got some hopes for 2020.
Hi Christian, I thought I'd put together a quick video now that we're out of the craziness that is Christmas, but just before the craziness that is the NAMM show, just to talk a little bit about what I have planned for the year ahead. So now that the Eurorack system is very nearly full, I've kind of got another project in mind for later in this year, which is to build a 5U system, that's a larger form factor modular synthesizer, along the lines of the larger Moogs from the 60s and 70s, or the synthesizers.com style synthesizers. I'm mostly going to be basing those around the schematics from usynth.com, that's YU synth. But I may go off of some other things as well. There's some really interesting DIY modular schematics kicking around from the likes of Look Mum No Computer. The nice thing about his gear is that it's based around the same power as Eurorack, so it should be quite easy to build and test using the equipment I already have. But that process of building from schematics and from components instead of ordering a kit which has instructions is a little bit more complicated, and I do think I've got a little bit to learn before I'll be able to do that properly. So I've ordered a breadboard. I'm going to figure out how to hook that up to my Eurorack power supply and start testing things in the background. So in the meantime, I thought a useful thing for the channel would be to make a series of videos on the fundamentals of synthesis, the likes of what is a VCO, what is a VCF, what's a VCA, and how do they interact, what might you use them for, looking at some things like amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, all of those sorts of things. So really what I'd like to know is, from our viewers, is what would you like to see me make a video of? What are the topics that I haven't mentioned that might be useful in part of as part of a Synth 101 series? I'm still deciding on the exact modules that I would use to demonstrate that, whether I'll try and get some kind of all-in-one module, some sort of all-in-one voice which with each of those different parts, or some very simple Doepfer or similar modules. I could even do it in VCV racks so that you don't, if you want to follow along with the tutorials, you don't have to have any modular equipment at all. We'll see. So those are the two projects that I have kind of on the back burner for the modular DIY and kind of fundamentals of modular side of things. But aside from that, 2019 was really the year where I was trying to put together the kind of system that I will use for performing live and for writing. Now that we're into early 2020, I feel like this year is going to be the year that I'm going to be trying to just book a gig, put my money where my mouth is, and figure out how to get this working in a live situation. So I'd like to document the process of putting together a live show, getting a gig maybe, and then try and record some of that, and then maybe look at what works, what doesn't work, and kind of iterate on that. let me know in the comments if there's anything that you particularly want to know about in that whole process. I'll be glad to document as much as I possibly can. And with all of these projects, I'm aware that not everybody on the channel is going to be particularly interested in all of the minutiae of all of them. So what I thought I would do this year is start my own YouTube channel, Dobson's Lab, which is going to be kind of a place where I can upload some of the longer form, nerdier videos, maybe tutorials on PCB design in KiCad, or real in-depth Electron tutorials or something like that. But anyway, like I say, any requests, I'd love to hear what people want to see, and of course, Happy New Year.
So it seems that we'll both be starting 2020 with more shopping, Sandy. But I have a way I can put these things to work. It's a full house today. So Harry,
hello.
What's going on?
Lots of tape actually.
The famous tape.
The famous tape. We've just managed to get the Echo Fix in, which we're just about to have a listen to. We've got Porta Studio here, Old Faithful, and then a set of pedals which can all do kind of vaguely tapey things. Autobahn, obviously.
Yeah.
Timeline, and the Avalanche Run.
I don't know that.
2, is that Harnick? V1.
What is that?
Amazing reverb and delay.
Okay.
Harnick's Amulets MVS1, which is modded with Very Speed that goes right down to like 0 speed. So all the way down to just like the depths of the tape machine's kind of speed capabilities, which is absolutely incredible.
And what are these?
The story behind these is actually really interesting. So these have come from, they're tape loops that have come from Tape Line, which I only just found out is on the road across from where I grew up.
Oh wow.
Which is quite fun. They've got a whole tape factory that's been there since the 80s. You can see they're just literally a tiny loop and then some spooling around the cassette there, so that you get, I think this one's a 30-second, then we've got some 15 seconds as well. Our plan is just to feed these with samples or create samples on these, send it through all the rest of the tape goodness, give it a bit of splosh, and see what it sounds like.
Hey presto, you've got a labs instrument.
Yeah.
So can I ask, we're using the Chorus Echo.
Yes.
But I've also bought one of these. Why do you think that was a good idea?
So, yeah, I mean, it's always a good idea. So, for a start, the guy that makes these is absolutely incredible, and he's been kind of working with Space Echoes and Chorus Echoes for years, I believe.
Right.
Really, really amazing guy. But one of the problems with the old Space Echoes and Chorus Echoes is that you get a lot of kind of flutter and capstan wobble and all sorts of kind of artifacts, which are really nice.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. But usually uncontrollable. You can service them. Soundgas are amazing. They'll service anyone's Space Echo. But I think, having a fresh build is it's an exciting prospect to have that sound without any of the artifacts. But I mean, it's perfect if you've got them both.
Yes.
But
which we do, which is great.
But yeah, I'm just really excited to hear it and to hear how it overloads as well. That's half the fun with these, is just pushing them into their
Right.
kind of overload state.
And then we're just using a bit of Frankensynth with the old Magneto.
Yeah, just the Magneto at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get into the world of
Yep.
sending LFOs and things into.
And I'm enjoying being able to actually see what I'm doing, which is kind of fun. And just to give you guys a sneak preview, there's the Bionic Lester that I bought from New York, but also drummy, drummy, drums.
Oh, Mum? Oh, no, that's right. That's fine, that's just tape. That's not a problem. That's nice, that's what we want, right? That's what we want.
Mark is playing the correct chords though as well. it's not just...
into its kind of non-linearity area. So that's kind of operating normally, which I don't really want. And then that's kind of, you're getting tape compression, little bits of distortion.
This is me first.
Some different modes do. Should probably read the manual at some point. Oh, nice.
I think it sounds amazing.
It's fucking good, isn't it? Okay, here we go. Mode 1.
Are we using these samples, do we think?
We'll have to. I mean, it's, you know...
We're allowed to. They're ours.
They're ours. We made them.
You made them.
Okay, so we've got head 1. So this is short, so that's probably means that it's coming from the tape read head that's closest to the record head, which looks like it's maybe one of these. So that's really short, and then medium, so it'll read from the second head. You can hear it's a bit longer. We'll just whack it up a little bit. Head 3, all the way around the end. So basically, it's based on just the principle that the tape is going at a speed, certain speed, and then it gets recorded on the record head, and then picked up and read off the read heads, which are physically at different distances. So it takes longer to get to head 3 than it does to get to head 1.
Okay.
So at the moment we're just hearing head 3, which is why you're getting that kind of bigger time delay.
Gotcha.
And then you get into the combinations where you've got head 1 and 2 together, so you get like a da-da kind of effect. And we're also, the feedback's quite high, so the feedback just puts the signal back in through the record head, I believe, from a read head, so that you can get into this kind of infinite sustain feedback.
So 1973, that isn't it?
Yeah. Man on the moon.
Okay, so just one silly question,
Yeah,
Harry.
yeah.
What is all the wiggly stuff for? Why can't you just have a short?
It's a really good question. I'm not too sure. I mean, so one thing is that you can change the speed of the tape. So you do need a long tape to be able to satisfy a faster speed.
I see.
That
Okay.
makes sense, having the space for it to move around.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of it being exactly that long, I'm not really sure.
Or maybe you know. Why is the tape so long and wiggly woggly in these things?
So we've just done a pass where we fed digital sounds into all the systems, but we also recorded that onto cassette. So now we're feeding the cassette itself back through those systems. So hopefully we'll get a kind of a double tape effect where we get some more low pass filtering, more kind of grainy noise. And then the idea is we might be able to chuck those alongside each other so that you can blend in and out
Yeah.
of them and just accentuate the tapiness of the whole thing.
Can't wait to play it. So the new year is going to be a reinvigorated one for Modular Monday. If there's anything you'd like Sandy and I to focus in on, please put them in the comments down below. I've got lots of tech that I've been given by various companies to do tech kind of in-depth deep dives on. So subscribe if you haven't done, ding that bell if you want to be notified the next time Sandy and I put a video up, and one of those for 2020. See you soon.
Like and subscribe.